This video is the directions for writing a references page component of the portfolio project for Career Ed. A references page is a place where you can list those people who are willing to speak on your behalf regarding your qualifications for employment. So these are people who you've worked for in the past, who would be able to vouch for you and to tell an employer that you would be a good fit or have a good work ethic, so that would help your chance at being hired for a position. The standard minimum number of references on a reference page is 3, although some situations and usually more professional style resumes require more than 3. The idea is to have people who can speak positively about your qualifications, skills, work ethic, etc. So you wouldn't want to put someone on there who you've had bad experiences with in the past. If you are fired from a job, you may not want to include the boss who fired you as a reference. The best people to seek are those who have directly seen you in specific work type or work-related settings using work-related skills and abilities. Some good examples of good people to use would be former employers who you got along well with, who could vouch for your work ethic. Teachers, especially for students who've never had a job, teachers make good references. And coaches also make good references because they can see your work ethic on the sports field and the practice field. You want to avoid family and friends here. They don't provide a good work-related reference. They might provide a good personal reference or a good personal character reference, but they're going to be a little bit biased, and they may have never seen you in a work-related setting, and so they're not going to be able to give an employer a good example or examples of how you would fit in a work-related environment. Always ask permission from the person to use them as a reference. You don't want someone to get called who has not been asked, because you may have put someone down who you thought was a good reference, but they did not see themselves as a good reference for you. So make sure that they're well aware that they may get a call to be a reference for you. It's also a good idea to keep all your references information up to date, so that if somebody had a change of phone number or change of address, an employer tried to contact them and they couldn't get a hold of them, now maybe one of your best references is out of play because you didn't take the time to change their information so that an employer could contact them. And sometimes references can make or break whether or not you get hired. It does end up boiling down to references a lot of the time if you get 2 really good candidates for a job. And you might want to have a list of references. Even though you only use 3 on your references page, you might have different references for different job type atmospheres and settings. So it's a good idea to have multiple references that you can rotate in and out depending on the type of job and position you're applying for. And the layout for a reference page, pretty straightforward. At the top, you want to include the same heading that was used on your cover letter and your resume. This lets the person know whose reference page it is, and if in case it were to get separated from the rest of your packet, your name's right on top, so it could easily be put back together with your resume or with your application packet. And your employer could find it and contact those references as needed. So make sure that does have your heading at the top and not just simply references. After your heading, you want to space down, usually 2 spaces below, and type the word references. It's usually center aligned, although sometimes it's left aligned. After you type the word references, space 2 more spaces down and then begin listing your first reference. You want to leave 1 to 2 blank spaces between each reference listed, depending on how many references are on that sheet. If there's just 3, Probably put 2 spaces in there to help to take up a little bit more of the paper so you don't have a lot of white blank space on your references page. Again, they should either be center aligned or left aligned. And I am not too picky here. It really depends on the way your resume looks and the format of that resume. You want to kind of match them up. You want all your documents to look similar, like they all belong together. So that's something you have to take into consideration before you decide to center or left align them. And the organization, this is probably the most important part. You want to include the following in this particular order: the person's name, their particular job title, their place of employment or the organization that they work for or are associated with, the street address, city, state, and zip code, their phone number, and the email, which is optional unless this would be the best method of contact for this reference. Here you'll see an example of a reference page. Has the heading that you previously noted in the on the resume. Everything matches up with the heading as far as the address, phone number on the resume and the cover letter. Again, make sure that there are no differences in address, phone numbers, emails. They want them all to be the same. And then you'll notice we've got 3 references there, each containing a name, job title, place of employment, mailing address, and phone number. In this instance, I didn't put email addresses because phone number I felt was the best way to get a hold of this person. So that's what your reference page could look like. It could also be left aligned depending on, again, the format of your resume and your cover letter. So that's it for reference pages. Thanks for watching.